Hey, what's going on, JFam? So they announced the other day that they're going to be removing boxes entirely from Brawl Stars in this next upcoming update. And I'll be honest, I was going to sit down and do a live react to this video, but the problem is that there was so little information that the reaction was going to be more of just like, what's going to happen with this? What's going to happen with this? And it was going to end up being more negative than positive, like I feel like it probably should be. And I just felt like it was probably better to sit down and have a conversation about what's going on rather than just being angry and reacting like I often tend to do. So in this video, I want to sit down and talk about the things that we do know that are changing, things that we don't exactly know what are changing, and just how I'm perceiving everything that's going to be happening moving forward. But before we get too far into it, let me know what you think about it down in the comments. Everyone's going to have their own opinions on this. Some people are going to love it. Some people are going to hate it. And I imagine most people are going to be a little mixed until we have more information. I know me personally, I'm kind of mixed on the whole situation, but we'll talk about that as this video progresses. Now, moving on, let's talk about the things that we do know that are changing. Now, obviously, the first big thing that we know that it's changing is that they're going to be removing boxes entirely from the game. They felt like, for whatever reason, that people needed to change how they unlock their brawlers because, you know, the current system is very RNG dependent. You have a random probability of unlocking any certain type of brawler, and then you're never guaranteed a specific brawler out of that certain rarity. So they felt like this needed to be changed, and I am a little bit on the fence of it. Overall, I'm pretty positive on this. I do think that it's a good thing in terms of account customization because it actually lets you craft exactly what brawler you want next when you're progressing through the whole new trophy road or whatever they want to call it. Because for example, right now in the current system, if your favorite brawler is Edgar and you really like Edgar and you want to unlock him, but the problem is that he's a mythic or he's an epic, and you get all the other epics except for Edgar. By the time you unlock him, all your other epics are going to be a little more progressed. They're going to have their trophies pushed, and your skills are just going to be a little more diminished with that specific brawler, Edgar, in this example. So I think overall, getting your favorite brawler faster is going to keep you hooked on the game a lot longer. But there's also a downside to changing this thing. And that downside is going to be losing that hype of unboxing a brand new brawler, especially one that you've been waiting for a really long time. The first two that come to mind for me are Leon and Crow. Unlocking those first legendary brawlers, especially the one you really wanted, is almost an unbeatable feeling, especially in mobile gaming. Can you imagine how games like Genshin Impact would be without that hype built behind their gacha system? And I feel like Brawl Stars losing that gacha system is kind of disappointing in the long run, but overall I think it's going to be good for most new players, but they're never going to be able to experience unlocking Leon and Crow out of a box when they first get that spinning animation and then the yellow pops up. That's just a small hype thing that's going to be lost in this change now. Now, one thing I was honestly confused about a little bit is how the whales are actually going to unlock all their brawlers right away, because if you've ever watched any type of whale player, as soon as they download a new game, they spend all their money they can to unlock all the characters. And I was wondering how whales were going to end up doing that, and it ends up showing that all brawlers are going to be purchasable from your brawler screen with gems, which I think is a good change for whales specifically. Maybe not so much for free-to-play players, because that's another thing for them to waste their gems on. And honestly, sticking to the Brawl Pass is probably the best way to spend your gems as a free-to-play player. But I think that it's a good change to give people instant gratification if they're willing to spend gems on that type of stuff. So I think overall that's a good change, but honestly, this should be more a thing that we do know is going to change. So let's just chalk it up to something we do know. One thing I'm not really personally a big fan of, but it is something we do know, is that they are going to be rebalancing the rarity of all brawlers. Now, I don't know why, but maybe it's just the old man in me, but I don't like the change of Bo becoming an epic brawler as opposed to him just staying as a trophy road brawler. Obviously, they're going to be changing that whole system around because it doesn't work with the new unlock system, which there's going to be a new currency for and stuff like that. So they do need to rebalance that, and I understand why they do need to change that, but just like I said, the stick in the mud part of me is no, Bose should be a trophy road brawler. Dynamite should be a trophy road brawler. It doesn't make sense to put them in different rarities, but that's like I said, it's just me being a stick in the mud. And the last thing that we do know for sure, like I already mentioned, is that there's going to be a new currency to actually unlock brawlers. Now we're going to be collecting whatever, they didn't really name it. They did show it. It's a little square box, and it showed I think it was plus 150 for to unlock a rare brawler, and then I think it was plus 430 to unlock a super rare brawler. Now, obviously, this is going to be a currency that we use to customize specifically which brawlers we want to unlock, and you're probably able to skip certain brawlers. If you don't want to unlock Jesse as your first super rare, you could probably go on to the next one, which would probably be like Jackie or Rico or whatever. So that's like basically all we do know about like exactly what's going on. But now let's talk about the things that we don't really know what's going to happen. And my first thing is that how exactly are we going to unlock this new currency? Because if it takes too long to unlock this currency, then it's going to stagnate progression because, like it's been pointed out, one of the biggest ways that we progress our accounts, especially in terms of like trophies and stuff like that, is by unlocking new brawlers and using them as kind of like a piggy bank for new trophies. So to slow down that type of progression is going to really stagnate accounts. And honestly, I don't know if I'm going to be on board with that type of change, but I think that especially early on, they're going to give you a lot of these currencies. I think for players who are already progressed, I think it's going to be a little bit harder to end up unlocking more brawlers because I feel like one of the things they're going to do is that when you progress a brawler up, they're going to give you some of that currency to try to fund your next brawler to push up. And then obviously the next question to build off of that question is how much is it going to cost to unlock the higher rarity brawlers? Because they already showed, you know, rares are going to be pretty cheap and super rares are going to be much more expensive, but still not too expensive. They're still like under 500 of this new currency. So how much is it going to cost to unlock an epic, a mythic, and then a legendary brawler? Now, if it's way too much, then it's not really going to speed up too much of how long it takes you to unlock that first legendary brawler. But if it's really not that expensive, then that's honestly a really good change. Honestly, I don't know if I see them making it super cheap to unlock a legendary. It's probably going to be something crazy like 10,000 of that currency, if I'm totally honest. But I won't be shocked if it's a little bit lower, but I'm fully expecting it to be super expensive if I'm honest. Now, one of the bigger questions I have about like what they're going to do with this is what are they going to do with chromatic brawlers? Because right now, chromatic brawlers are on like a sliding scale. They start as legendaries, and they go to mythics, then they go to epics. Now, are they going to keep that up and like it gets cheaper every season that they're out? Or is it going to come out at like one unlock price and that's like where it's going to be? That's something that they haven't answered yet, and we're going to have to wait and find out. But I honestly hope it just starts at the mythic price and they stop doing this legendary drop for these chromatic brawlers, or maybe just do away with the chromatic rarity entirely and then just put brawlers in the Brawl Pass according to whatever rarity that they probably should be. Because we all know like not all brawlers are made equally. Like Ash might not be quite the same as like a brawler like Buzz, right? They're both chromatic brawlers, but one might be a little more like higher up on that rarity scale based on their mechanics and stuff. Those might not be the best examples, but those are the first two that popped up into my head, so I'm running with that. And my last big question is, what are they going to do with the Brawl Pass? Because right now, I would say about 85% of the rewards in the Brawl Pass are currently boxes. So they're going to have to totally rework the next Brawl Pass to try to compensate for whatever reward that is. I do think they are going to give some of this brawler currency in the Brawl Pass, but I think a lot more is going to be moved to just loose power points and gold. And I don't know if that's a fair change because, like, it does, like I said, it does remove the hype of opening boxes, and at the same time, like, it does make it a little more work for progressing your account. Now, I mean, not that it's that big of a deal, but I kind of am, again, this is another thing I'm kind of sticking the mud about, is that I like to have boxes in the Brawl Pass, and obviously they're going to have to do away with that, but just the idea of, like, unlocking the next tier of the Brawl Pass and it just being 500 gold or 200 gold is kind of lame in my opinion. So, like, I would like to see a different change, but honestly, we're not going to be able to keep the boxes, like I said, so we'll have to see what happens, but yeah. All right, now let's talk about the things that I think are good coming in this change, because honestly, like I said, I think there's a lot of good that's going to come out of this, and I've already mentioned, but the account customization is probably the top of the list, because now unlocking brawlers that you want to unlock rather than brawlers that you're kind of just stuck with, I think that's a really good way to make a big change in the game, and it's going to keep people more interested in the game for a lot longer, because, you know, not unlocking your favorite brawler is going to be one of the reasons why kids quit. So being able to unlock whatever brawler you want when you progress that far, I think that's a really good change overall. And the possibility of unlocking brawlers faster rather than just getting it out of an RNG box, I think that's another good change. We don't know if we're actually going to unlock brawlers a lot faster, but just the idea that they could possibly unlock faster, I think that's a good change, because that keeps your account progressing, keeps you pushing trophies, and it keeps you more hooked into the game, because the game's a lot funner when your account is actually progressing rather than just being stuck in the mud and spinning your wheels right around the 500 mark when you have all the brawlers you could possibly unlocked. And I think the last thing that I'm pretty excited for, I think is actually going to be a good change, is just the change to progression overall is probably going to get buffed, because I think whenever you think to like how Brawl Stars changes progression, they almost always buff it. They almost never make it harder for us to progress. You think to things like the addition of the Brawl Pass when we got like a 30% buff to how many boxes we got every month, and then the addition of like Club League where you are now able to get all these club coins and you can exchange it for gold if you need it, or you can exchange it right for power points. I think those are both big changes that are like good examples of how progression got buffed overall. And I think that this overall is going to end up being another buff to progression, but it's going to be in a different form overall. But like I said, I have faith in the Brawl Stars team to not nerf our progression, but to continue to buff it up. So that's why I'm saying this here. All right, now to wrap up this video, I'm going to talk about like the things that I think are kind of bad. And like I already mentioned, the removal of boxes kind of removes the experience of unlocking new brawlers through opening boxes. Like I said, that's a hype thing, and losing out on that type of experience, especially in like making content, that's selfish, but like making content about opening boxes, like whether it's like a you laugh you lose or an unboxing challenge, or like Kairos time eating boxes or eating stuff when he unboxes stuff every single like update. I think losing that type of content and that type of experience is overall negative for the game. It's negative in a slight way because, you know, now we're gonna have like the hype videos of like finally unlocking a brawler after whatever months and stuff. But I just feel like unboxing content is always fun to watch, and it's always a good time, like when you do actually unlock a new brawler. So I think losing that type of content is kind of bad overall. One of the things that I'm actually super concerned about, though, is that once everyone has most of their brawlers unlocked and they start to just build up this new accumulation of this currency, because obviously they're not going to like make it so you don't get the currency if you have all the brawlers unlocked. You're just going to end up building a bank of it. The one thing that I'm super concerned about that happening is that when a new brawler comes out, and it's a relatively low rarity, we'll say like an epic or lower, like when those brawlers come out and everybody just buys that brawler, then the whole market is going to be flooded with it. Matchmaking is just going to be chaos for like 3 weeks while everyone's pushing this brawler up and unlocking it and all that. And whenever that happens, it just makes the game super annoying. I mean, you think back like when Rosa came out, when Jackie came out, you think when Edgar was given to literally everybody. That type of situation is going to happen a lot more often, and I really hope that they find some way to curb that. But I don't know if they're actually going to be able to do that, because the way this like new unlock system is going to work, we're all going to be sitting on this massive bank, and then when they put a brawler out that everyone can buy, then they're all just going to cash in, and it's just going to be chaos. So that's not one thing I'm looking forward to. I think that's probably going to be the worst change out of this entire like change of progression right here. But yeah, overall, I think this is going to be a good change for the game. I think that progression is going to get buffed. I think that customizing your account is going to keep people interested a lot longer. And if they can keep people unlocking brawlers faster, it's going to keep them interested for longer as well. Like I said, the only things I'm really negative on are losing the unboxing experience, both as a content thing and as just like you know, a random casual person just opening boxes. They're never going to experience getting their first legendary at a totally random time, just opening a random small box. So losing that kind of sucks. And then, like I said, I am concerned about like new brawlers flooding matchmaking as soon as they come out. That's something that I am concerned about as well. But let me know what you guys think about this change down in the comments. If you're new and you enjoyed my rambling, make sure you leave a like and subscribe. And make sure you check out some of my other videos on Brawl Stars and both Hollow Knight. I haven't done a Hollow Knight video in a while, but yeah, make sure you go and check out some other videos. Let me know what you think down in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.